Today I'm going to share with you how to make a zip pocket for any bag. So I've got my bag lining pre-prepared with Pellon SF on the back, which is a woven iron-on interfacing. This pocket is designed for tablets, so I've applied fusible fleece to the back of my pocket lining. So the first thing we need to do is mark out the position of the zip onto the lining, onto the back. So we're going to position lining of the pocket down from the top of the bag. So for this one I'm going 2.5 inches down. And I'm going to position it centrally. So there we are, it's positioned centrally. I'm just going to pin that in place. But we need to mark the stitch lines for where our zip's going to go. For this it's going to be 3.5 inches from the top and 1.25 inches from the top of our lining. And just mark a line all the way across. Ideally you'd use something other than a pencil. And then a second line 1/2 inch further down. So you've got two parallel lines 1 inch apart. Now I'm going to mark in 1 inch from each side to give us our stitch lines. I'm going to stitch round with a short length of stitch, about 2mm length, exactly along your stitch lines to stitch this rectangle. When you get to the corner, just lower your needle in exactly in the corner, lift your presser foot, pivot round, lower the presser foot, continue down and round. As you can see, I changed my mind and I stitched 1.5 inches in from the sides. Anyway, now we've stitched our lines, we're going to draw another set of lines. So right down the middle, which is 1/4 inch, starting 1/4 inch in from the edges, and then we're going to draw a V from the corner of our stitched line to that line. So now we're going to cut out that line we just sewn down the middle and into the corners as close as we can to the stitch mark without actually cutting the stitch mark. So I'm going to start this using a seam ripper, and I'm going to go through both layers. And then cut. If you're getting in close to this edge in the corners, it's important for when we pull the fabric through next. So now we've cut it, I'm going to pull our fabric through, our pocket lining, through to the other side of our fabric. All round. And then we're going to give it a really good press with the iron. Your corners should lie flat if you've cut in as neatly as you can to the edge. Now my pocket lining is the same fabric, so I don't need to worry too much about this edge. But if you've got contrasting fabric, you may want to slightly roll your inner edge inwards so that it's not peeking through. The next step is to place our zip into this gap. Now there are lots of different methods of holding your zip in place so you can stitch it in position. So historically I have tacked it in place with tacking stitches like on this one here. So it's just simple stitches running along about a centimetre long that I've hand stitched in place with a needle and thread. There are other methods. So some people use a glue stick. I've got a glue pen here, or you can use Wonder Tape. So I'm going to use Wonder Tape. So here's my Wonder Tape. It's sticky on both sides. So I'm going to put a piece of length right along the edge, very edge of the zip. No longer than the pocket itself, the hole. And then that peels off to real glue. Do that for the second side. Right, so I'm going to place this behind our opening. As you can see, I've made sure my Wonder Tape is in from a metal zip end. I don't want to be trying to get the sewing machine through that, so I'm going to be sewing over here, not over here. And the beauty of using Wonder Tape is that you can get your zip positioned centrally in your gap. I'm just going to hand stitch that close together here to stop it pulling apart here. So I'm just running some quick stitches, hand stitches, just to hold the zip together, stop it spreading. There we go. Right, I'm going to stitch that in place now. There we go, the zipper is stitched into place. So, turn your fabric over Now we're going to fold up my piece of fabric from the bottom up to the top and pin round. Folding my fabric up, long short edges meeting, side edges meeting, pinned all round. So we're going to sew around the edge of our pocket lining, being careful not to catch the bag lining under our sewing machine foot. So we're just going to fold it out of the way around here. So there we have it. I mean, this is a really big pocket because it's going in a bag that is designed to hold a tablet, as I say. But lots of people, especially women, like a zip pocket for personal items inside a bag. You can use this technique on the outside of a bag. It doesn't have to be on the inside at all. You can do it at a jaunty line angle to add a feature. You could do a contrasting zip. You could do contrasting top stitching thread when you stitch the zip into place. There are lots of ways to make this a feature of a bag and not just a practical item. Enjoy sewing zip pockets. They're really not that terrifying at all. Winter tape or any kind of fabric glue makes it really easy to get a nice straight zip. If you just pin it, the zip tends to wobble. Enjoy your bag making.